Already live. I am. I am already live. Um, this is Everything's Debatable, and I'm your host, Bosco, aka Malik Assad Hoover. Right now, I'm actually broadcasting live. I'm streaming live uh, from Coleman, Alabama. Coleman, Alabama. My wife mentioned to me earlier that that's interesting. My truck, I'm in my truck. I don't know if you can tell as far as the background and everything, but I'm in my truck and it just started to go through a regen. So forgive the background noise. Don't know how long it'll last. Sometimes it lasts a pretty long time, actually. But anyway, we're in Coleman, Alabama. And my wife mentioned to me earlier that this used to be or was what they call a sundown town. And I guess from the way that she was explaining it, people that looked like myself had to be in at a certain time. And it's interesting to me that, well, I know the history of the United States, but that would even, and I wonder how recent it was. But what it led me to think about was the fact that we have a president and an entire movement of people who are claiming that they are going to make America great again, going to make America great again. And when I think about it, I'm wondering at what time period were they talking about? What time period are they referring to? Are they referring to when they initially arrived here? Uh, you know, the nations of Europe sending over their criminals and then them massacring Native Americans, or was it during the time of chattel slavery? Was it the second Civil War or the Civil Rights Civil Rights era, or was it during the Civil Rights movement? You know, when people were denied basic civil rights, or was it during the war on drugs, which we've come to find today was actually orchestrated by the government and just for the purpose of thwarting black movements, black liberation, and and unity. You know, I'm just curious as to what time were they talking about more recently with 13th Amendment. If you haven't saw that documentary, the mass incarceration. What's interesting about that, you know, that started. I did a speech on it when I was in college. That during my research, I found that what had happened was they had privatized prisons. They privatized prisons in 1984. And after they privatized prisons, of course, when you have corporations who are in the business of making profits, they do what they can to increase their profit margin. And so after 1984, you had all of these lobbyists that were lobbying for more strict sentencing guidelines. And so you had three strikes, you had mandatory sentencing, and among other things. So I just wonder at what time period uh, these people who claim make America great again, what they're referring to, or are they being, you know, transparent in what they desire to happen in the United States? It seems quite apparent to me at times. But anyway, this again is my show. Everything's debatable. I'm the host, Bosco. Today I'm going to be talking about. First, let me let you know I got a guest coming on later, Tiphani. She'll be on later. She's a gospel musician, a podcast host. So she's going to come on and talk some about herself, tell us more about herself and her podcast, her music, all those things. Anyway, some of the topics today, I'm going to talk about the Epstein list. I'm going to talk about the Clipse new album. The Clipse new album. Also, I'm going to be talking about AI. AI, and we were watching a documentary yesterday, and just from I saw a video, right? I saw a video of, they said there's a missing portion of the Epstein tape when he was in prison, and I saw a video that actually created the same image with Epstein in it and the guards forcing him back in the cell, and that's AI. I don't know if you know the potential of AI, but it's scary to think that they can recreate events so realistically that you would believe that it's actually happening, right? And that's scary to me because in the future, uh, how do you distinguish, reality, from something that's created? I don't know how you would do that, and I don't know. It's just dangerous to me. It's scary to me because you have criminal cases now. You can have them. Uh, and this people are going to think I'm crazy, right? I I actually believe Jim Jones, Jonestown. When that happened, I believe that the government spliced those tapes, right? I do. Of course, brother, you can always come on. Uh, I got a guest today, but the next time I'm on here, I think on the 20th I might have another guest, but after that we can get on. I'll be happy to have you on here. But the Jonestown's tapes, I believe, were actually spliced. I think the government spliced the tapes. I don't know if anyone. I know people, listen to the media and they get the news from the media, and they pretty much control the narrative. They did that with Randy Weaver. They did it again with David Koresh, and I believe they did it with Jim Jones as well. Oh, for sure, bro, for sure. I can come on yours, or you can come on however you want to do it. Just let me know. I'm usually available Sundays. So Sunday morning, if you want to do it sometime Sunday morning, we can do that. But yeah, I definitely believe that they splice the tapes. And so, considering that and what AI is able to do now, I believe that they will be able to just create evidence. You know what I mean? They'll just create the evidence. And then, what prevents them from creating anytime they see you as a threat, whatever, what prevents them, from creating the evidence and locking you up for something that you did not do. Uh, so I don't know that. And then I wanted to talk about what else was on the agenda today. Oh, and this is age old question: what came first, the chicken or the egg? And I'm going to give you my theory on this because I have these conversations all the time with these people who believe that a woman was here first, and then life came from a woman. But anyway, I'm going to get more into that later. Let's get right now into, because I'm short on time before Tiffany shows up. So let's get into the Epstein files, which obviously did not exist. They don't exist. Um, and what is interesting about this now? President Trump is saying to his followers, the MAGA crowd, uh, just forget about the files. Let's stop talking about them. Don't want to talk about them anymore. Stop bringing it up. What is interesting to me about the files and the list, let me say that the files and the list. What is interesting to me is that we were lied to at some point in time, right? It doesn't matter if they lied in the beginning and said that they did exist, or they're lying now and they're saying that they don't exist. Either they lied when they said they existed, or they're lying now when they say that they don't exist, right? That's just a fact. You were lying then or you're lying now, right? So the problem that I have with it is this. First of all, let me be honest. I never really paid attention to the Epstein case, the trial, or anything. Never paid attention to it. Uh, now that it's becoming more prevalent in the news, I'm thinking about the implications. Right? You're saying that at some point in time you had some evidence that this particular man and this woman were involved in child abuse, child trafficking, uh, etc. Right? That's the claim. She's actually doing time for this, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong because, like I said, I'm not that versed in the entire case. But uh, what I'm what I'm getting at is this: is that if it was the local government, like say it was the mayor of your town of your city, and at one point in time they said that they had evidence of child trafficking, child abuse, and then all of a sudden they say, okay, we don't have the list anymore. I believe that on the local level there would be so much backlash. I believe that almost to the point where the the mayor or people in those positions, whether it's the chief police, whoever's involved, they would have to actually resign because there would be so much backlash, right? That's just my personal opinion. And now, because it's higher government, it's almost like, well, what can we do, right? What can we do? So I don't know. I don't know what we can do. I don't even know because maybe maybe there never was a list. Let's assume that there never was a list to begin, right? But they have evidence. There never was a list. Okay, if you have evidence, are you saying that you only have evidence of those two involved, and then you have a victim, or did you have multiple victims, and then you had them? Because who corroborates the story? If you have one victim and you have two people, I don't think that you can take. I don't know. Maybe they have videotapes. Maybe it's more going on than what we know, and maybe it's a matter of national security. So, with that being said, I would like to hear your thoughts on the missing Epstein list. Is it Epstein or Epstein? Epstein. I think I'm saying it right. Yeah, I would want to get hear your thoughts on what you believe is happening, what should happen, um, what has happened, etc. So the clips, and everyone should know the clips. Everyone should. I know they asked Aries, and let me tell you, I don't like this dude Aries. I don't like his comedy. I don't like him as a person. Interestingly, he had a sketch with Tiffany Haddish about child abuse, something like that. But anyway, I don't like him. And so, they asked him today, have you heard of the Clipse? And he said, no, I have not heard the Clipse. You can't be really a rap fan if you have not heard the Clipse. And albeit at the time, when they first got out, I didn't really like the Clipse too much. But I have grown to appreciate their music. And Pusha T is actually probably one of the better rappers that I've heard. And Malice is nice. My wife and I were, we were talking about that recently. Malice, no Malice. It's not Malice. It's no Malice. Nice, real nice. But anyway, I listened to the album. Uh, I got to look up the name again. What's the name, baby? You remember the name of the album? Let God sort them out. Let God sort them out. I listened to the album. Uh, First song is excellent. Um, it was my wife cried over that song. She she shed a tear. And to be honest, to be quite honest, I almost did too. I did. Let me not lie to y'all. I did shed a tear or two listening to that song. But anyway, the album as a complete work is and I haven't gotten all the way to the end. I haven't heard the song with Nas. I have not heard the last song. Because I want to hear it in a different space, really. I want to hear it because it has the 808 bass that I love, and so I'm waiting to actually be in in an atmosphere where I can, or an environment where I can hear it the way it should really sound. The beats, though, Pharrell is always nice. The beats, and what you notice about the beats is that it's almost a mashup. It's a mashup of the heavy 808s, um, of almost like trap. You know what I mean? That's where I believe the heavy 808, the real heavy 808s come from. It's like trap music. But you have the heavy 808s, and then you have like the old hip hop feel, right? And it matches the it matches the rap styles of both Pusha T and No Malice. Because even though they're older, right? They're older than most. Well, they're older. You got younger rappers. We're in a different generation right now, right? So you got all these young rappers. And to me, to be quite honest, all of the new music is trash. It's just trash. It's garbage. No, it's not. I mean, no, I don't like any of the music today. Like none of it. And I used to, like Kendrick Lamar is nice. Drake is totally fell off. He can just throw everything away. Everything he makes now is trash. Lil Wayne is absolute garbage. He just needs to just throw the towel in, right? Um, but this album, and once I get done, I'll give it, like the how the source used to do it, 4 or 5 mics or whatever. I'll give that later once I hear everything completely. But the album, go listen to the album. The album is real. Now, if you're a rap fan, if you're a hip hop fan, I've been listening to rap since the '80s. Of course, you can tell that I probably, yeah. So I've been listening to rap since the '80s. Cool Mo G, uh, not no, not him. He was cool, but no, I mean Cool G Rap. Cool G Rap, one of my favorites. Big Daddy Kane, Rakim. And then you had the era of Gangster NWA. They came in and went on and on. But as far as lyricism, style, technique, emotion, everything, it's all in there. It's all in there. I would say right now the year is probably the best rap album of this year so far. I listened to some people, and none of it matches up to this Clipse album. But I do want to know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about the new Clipse album. Uh, Let God sort them out. Um, I don't know if you guys heard this story. My wife mentioned it yesterday. Uh, Jamal White in Milwaukee, kidnapped at gunpoint. They said they had a ring thing where somebody was shooting and all type of stuff. And the story seemed uh, very, very strange to me. But it's a strange story. I mean, broad daylight, some guy pulls up, sees the kid on the bike, pulls the gun out, puts him in the car. They drive off because I'm like, well, two things, right? If that was random, he's in real danger, right? I don't think that you're going to make it back home. I don't think that he would have made if it was just random, because who does that? Who and randomly just pulls up and takes a kid and then whatever. And then I said, well, we were talking about the fact that maybe the family was involved in some other stuff, and maybe something like that caused this situation to happen, right? Which anyway, what we found out was less than 24 hours. He's actually safe. He's found. So we're all happy for that. And there was an arrest. A 25-year-old man was arrested. And I'm waiting to hear what actually happened. It doesn't it just doesn't make good sense to me. Like, who was this person? How did you get caught? I'm waiting to hear the end of the end of this story. I'm curious as to what was, and I would say that maybe it was his actual father, his biological father. Um, but I don't know. That it still doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't make I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. At all. So we got about what? We got about 10 more minutes before Tiffany comes on here. Hope y'all don't mind if I wait. So, what was I going to talk? The chicken or the egg, right? And I have to be honest. I have looked at this from different angles, and I would like somebody to explain it to me, if you can. My mother is a teacher, and she's a science teacher, so she knows a little bit about science and stuff, and so we've had a discussion about this too. But the prevailing theory of evolution and how life began here on Earth is that there was a single cell organism. Now, keep in mind, from what we know, a single cell organism only clones itself. It makes clones of itself. People will say, well, you see them as multicellular. They're multicellular, but they are all still clones of the single cell, and they're just, they have different functions. It's a colony. It's not a human being. It's not an animal, right? Per se. Because, and this is what I mean, the chicken or the egg. What came first? If you have a single cell organism who only clones itself, meaning that it has its own instructions, right? At what point in time did two cells, right? Two cells having their own set of instructions, right? Fuse together or become one with differing instructions to create one animal. Where did they get the instructions from? How did they even know when they came together it was going to be anything? Where did they come together at? And that's the reason for the chicken or the egg, because if you know about reproduction of a chicken and egg, the egg lies dormant, right, in the hen, and then the rooster. I think I'm getting these terminologies right, but the rooster comes along and with the sperm he fertilizes the egg, right? Not only that, it has to have a place to incubate. It has to have a place to incubate. So the egg is a place to incubate. The womb is a place to incubate. So if there was no animal, let's forget the chicken. Let's say an animal. If there was no animal, right? Because you definitely can't have two, because there was. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Am I making sense to you? You can't. You would have to. Then you say the egg came first, but then when they make this argument, and I hear this from these people, they'll say, "Well, the egg came first. It came from another animal." Oh, but we're not talking. We're talking about. Forget the word chicken. That I mentioned the word chicken. Let's just talk about the animal. An animal that requires a sperm and an egg, reproductive cells, with different information and instructions to make one animal, right? And was that an egg first? And if it was an egg first, how did it get fertilized? How was it fertilized? And it can't be that. So, and I think, and I didn't realize why that question was even asked. I thought that it was a ridiculous question, but it's really not. It's actually profound. And people don't even look at the question itself to understand how profound it is, right? But yeah, if you can answer that question for me, I would challenge anyone to come on my show and actually, because I want to hear. People think that it's all about being right. I don't necessarily. I want to know. I thirst for knowledge, so I want to know. And I don't think that it may cause me to question other beliefs that I have, but I think that I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with questioning my own beliefs. No. Um, so, like I said, we got Tiphani. I don't know if she's viewing right now, but Tiphani, gospel singer, podcast host, will be here shortly. Um, so, what do you guys want to talk about now? I was going to talk about. Well, this is another thing that I want to talk about. Like I mentioned earlier, AI, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with AI and its potential, its uses, and everything. But like I mentioned, I saw a video Right? Epstein, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a missing minute in his video. There's a missing minute. And so someone used AI to create an event that happened in that missing minute. You see Epstein running out of his cell, and then these guards are grabbing him, putting him back in the cell, and it looks realistic, right? It's AI though, and so, I talked about this before, but even the fact that they can create these images or these videos and make them realistic, I think at some point in time we are going to question our own reality. You know, like we're going to see things happening, and we're not going to be, and that's the danger, even with getting information online. Like I see, we'll see things online and we believe that it's true because maybe they put a news, a news organization or whatever on there, and so we believe it to be true, and then later on we find out it's not true at all, right? And so I think that's dangerous. But not only is that dangerous, I think that where we are headed, where they are going to make these humanoid robots, and I don't know if you've even saw some of the stories of people falling in love with chat bots or whatever. They're falling in love with them. I just did it. I spoke about it. I think last week, a guy and his wife are considering divorce because he's fallen in love with the chat bot. And as a matter of fact, maybe a couple of months ago, I talked about a young kid who actually committed suicide because he had fallen in love with this chatbot, right? So now you go from there where you have this. I don't know how people make the. I don't know how people make the mistake of falling in love with artificial intelligence. But anyway, now you have sex dolls too. So say, and you have stem cells where you can, skin and everything. So eventually, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to have these humanoid AI robots that people are marrying. I know it sounds, but people, I think that's what's going to happen. And then I don't know how far it goes. Like, if you start making them human, like I think you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't make them human, right? Because if you make them human, like what if? Because keep in mind they've run into issues before where uh, one of the first times I did a story or spoke about AI, the AI lied to the creators because it didn't want to be replaced. So it was lying. It was being deceptive because it didn't want to be replaced, right? That's how do you prevent it from? I don't know. And then I saw Elon Musk talk about it, and he said that he has to put in these parameters. He said you can't have it where you say don't lie or something like that. He was saying don't lie because then it would be a situation where it would feel that you would need to die in order for the truth to stand, right? Or he said, if you start talking about diversity and you say, oh, we need, the world to be more diverse. And AI says, okay, well, if you want diversity, AI decides that it has to kill certain people, right? So, and then my wife was talking about, I wish she would sometimes get on here because she has some of this information. It was saying, um, baby, real quick, are you up? What was it saying about the AI? Uh,
And we're talking about how it gives it. I can't think of the term.
like,
Like it's a specific word that they said, but anyway, it gives them all this data or this information, and it allows it to teach itself. So it allows it to
teach itself.
like
Oh,
make errors, correct itself, and such like that. To the point that when the AI is teaching and learning itself, they can't tell what AI knows or doesn't know, or how they learn that information because they don't.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to that. I got Tiffany. She's here right now, so let's get her on here. How you
What's
doing, Tiffany?
up?
What's going
I'm
on?
good.
You good?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I do want to thank you for coming on with me again. I appreciate it. Um, so how's life? I think it's been maybe about a month now. How's life been going for you?
It's been going. We living and learning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Life is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
learn. All right. So I got some questions again for you. Forgive me if I go, bring up one that you might have answered before. Keep in
Okay,
mind the
okay.
viewers now haven't seen it. But anyway, you've worn many hats, right? Wife, podcaster, artist. How do you balance all of these roles while still nurturing your creativity?
Woo. That is a good question. I'm actually learning to be able to balance all of those things. Um, because the way my mind works, I got to get a balance on it. So sometimes things aren't balanced, and that can be a bad thing sometimes. But that's one thing that I'm working on is balance. So
Right.
yeah,
Um, your name, Tiffany, aka is it Allison?
yes. So
Okay.
my name is Allison, but my stage name for everything is Tiffany.
Okay. What's the
Hmm.
story behind the dual identity? And when do you feel like each version of you shows up?
So Tiffany comes from my dad wanted to name me Tiffany. And so I just decided to utilize that as my stage name when I first started singing and things like that. So there's definitely a difference between Tiffany and Allison when it comes to bringing out the best in what I do. For instance, like my husband, he might say if I'm letting him hear a new song or whatever, and he'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, that sounded good, but if you put a little Tiffany on it, then it'd be just right."
Right.
So it's definitely a difference between Allison and Tiffany, but Tiffany is more of the stage name for everything that I do for the podcast and for the singing. Every now and then, I'll get out of what do they call it, the fourth wall or whatever, and I'll cross over into Allison.
Oh, right.
I
Okay.
think that's what they call it, the fourth wall or
Fourth
something
wall.
like that.
I'm gonna have to
But
look that up.
yeah, that's the difference between the two. Allison is just my government name, but I answer to both. So
All right. As far as the podcast, I forgot. Is it Tips by Tiffany?
it's Tips Tuesdays.
Tips Tuesdays. Okay. And
Yes.
what is that about again? So the people can know.
So Tips Tuesdays is an inspirational podcast where I bring inspiration, motivation, and encouragement with inspirational topics that I usually release a new episode every Tuesday unless I'm on break from the podcast. But every Tuesday you get an inspirational message about a topic that I might want to talk about at that moment. Usually it's a quick, like, average 10 minutes. Here lately, I've been going a little over 10 minutes, just depends on the topic. But something just to give you a boost of inspiration for your week, for your
Right.
life, for whatever you may be going through in that moment that might help you to be a better person, because that's all we're trying to be is better people every day.
Every day. Um, you've been singing since childhood. What was the moment you realized music wasn't just a gift, but it was your calling?
Mm. I don't know, cause I just been singing so long. I think I just knew in a sense, you know. Um, but just actually like getting serious about pursuing music uh would have been in mm, 2011 that I actually just got serious with it. But yeah, I don't know. That's a blurred line there.
What caused that shift in 2000? You said 11.
Yeah. So just actually doing it, actually like purposefully doing it. As far as like songwriting and recording and actually performing it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. How has the transition into gospel music changed the way you approach songwriting and performance?
Now that's a good question. I would have to go back to when I didn't do uh gospel music per se. Because I wrote songs before just just saying that I'm just gonna do gospel, which I'm not just doing gospel. I do gospel and inspiration,
Okay.
but I've gotten serious about the gospel music and inspirational music because it's a thing that I didn't want to play with. I didn't want to just because I can do gospel music that I'm just gonna come up with a gospel song and that's gonna be that. But
Right.
then my lifestyle not match up with the things that I'm singing about. Um, Before actually getting serious about just doing that specific genre, like I said, I would write songs. I'm a minister of music at my church, and we would sing songs that I write and things like that.
Right.
But there was definitely a difference once I made the decision to do it all the way. You know,
Right.
so yeah. So when it comes down to songwriting for specifically gospel, like it's kind of the same as any other genre that I've done. Is just more personal and more about my relationship with God.
Right. Um, what was the inspiration behind the song "Same Old Praise" and how has it resonated with your audience?
Oh man. So Same Old Praise actually is one of the first songs that I wrote after my mom passed. Um I was at a point in my life where it was like just like the title says, we were just doing the same old thing. Every Sunday, going to church, doing the same thing, singing the same old songs, and just, throwing up the same old praise, expecting God to bless you all the time, and you're just not giving Him your all. And, it's like, could you imagine if God didn't do the things that He did for you?
Right.
And it's like being in a relationship. If you're with your spouse or your partner and they're just doing the same thing day in day out, you get tired of that.
Right.
And it's the same thing with God. It's like, don't just give me any old praise. Put some thought and effort into it. uh Actually have a relationship with me.
Right.
Don't just come expecting something from me all the time.
Yeah.
So and that's the inspiration behind that song is, you know I can't keep giving you the same old praise.
Right.
You keep blessing me over and over and over, and the things that God blesses us with, we might look at as mediocre. We look at, I woke up this morning, and we take that for granted, and it's like, but I didn't have to wake you up this morning.
Right. Exactly.
Or I could have woke you up and you not have activity of your limbs. I could have woke you up and you be blind.
Right.
Like we take those things for granted and we take God for granted. So that is kind of the inspiration behind same old praise. It's just not taking those blessings that we get every day for granted.
That resonates on so many levels for me, to be honest. And I don't mean, can I put you on the spot? I don't want to, but I just um can we hear some of the song?
Some
Do
of the
you feel
song.
like, yeah, same old praise? If you
Okay.
don't feel like, I understand.
I don't know. I can do it. It's funny. I was just on the phone with somebody and they asked about a song. So, um, when I think about all the Lord has done. I think about how He keeps blessing me in spite of all the things I've done. He keeps on making a way. I can't give Him the same old praise that I did yesterday. He keeps on blessing me. He woke me up this morning, starting me on my way. Gotta give Him some praise. Yeah, that's a little bit. Because I started it in the wrong key.
That was awesome.
Up in the stratosphere.
You released several albums. Which one felt the most personal or challenging to create, and why?
Man, you be coming up with some good questions.
That's my question. Thank you.
Look, I might have to hire you on for some questions for my future shows. Say the question one more time.
All right. You released several albums.
Mm-hmm.
Which one felt the most personal or challenging to create, and why?
Ooh, okay. So I would say, now this is out of all my albums that I have out, because it's just not the gospel. So my most personal one would be This Feeling That I Have, which each song on that album I talk about the different feelings, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, any kind of feeling that you could possibly have. I basically have a song for on this album. One of the songs that's on there is called I got this feeling. It's I'm trying to think of the name of the song. It's called this. I want to say it's called This Feeling. I got this feeling. But in that song, I talk about just raw emotions, that different relationships that you may not try to build for the sake of not wanting to get hurt.
Right.
Or not wanting to get too close to people because of the people that you may have lost in life. It's like, I don't want to create a relationship and get too close to that person and then they end up dying on me.
Right.
Or they end up leaving. I think that was one of the most emotional and personal songs on that album. The Feeling, I think I'm saying it wrong. The Feeling That I Have, or This Feeling That I Have, is the name of that album. And the most challenging album was actually an album that I didn't put out online or anything like that, but the most challenging one would have been, yeah, okay, I'm gonna say it. The sexy album. That would have been the most challenging one. Because although I did R&B, that was more of a challenge, doing something different and more vulnerable. I'm not gonna say it wasn't vulgar or anything like that, but it was more vulnerable.
Right.
So that would be the most challenging one, which, like I said, that one's not out online or anything, but there are songs that I did release from that album. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Where was I at? Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what threw me. I wanted to ask you, as far as your music, where can people find it?
You can find my music on all streaming platforms. So whatever you listen to music on, you can find me there. Tiphani. I believe it's like 3 or 4, depending on what platform you're on. Because I think Apple it only shows like 3, but on Spotify it shows 4. But anywhere that you listen to music, Tiphani.
Okay. Where we at? As far as podcasting, what inspires you to start podcasting, and how does it feed your soul differently than music?
So podcasting, I started podcasting in 2022. It was something that I wasn't really looking to do, but I had went to school for my music business, my bachelor's in music business, and one of the things that we surfaced over and had to do as far as projects was podcasting, and it made me curious to want to do the podcasting. So from there, I I was like, what kind of podcast would I do? I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to do drama. I don't want to do politics. Yeah, first of all, I'm not even interested in all that. Uh, so that was the first question. It was like, okay, if you're gonna do podcasts, what are you going to do?
Right.
And uh, once I asked myself that question, it's like, well, you already have things that you could, spin this podcast from. I'm a writer over everything, whether it's music or just writing down things. And I had already kind of dibbled and dabbled in a blog post.
Uh huh.
And within that blog post, I did some of the topics that were the beginning of my podcast. And so God had already told me, he said, well, you already, whatever you're going to do, you already have it inside of you.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So my first few episodes of the podcast came from what I already wrote. And then from there, I've just been whatever inspirational topics that I write about, that's been the podcast. So it's been 3 years now, and it has been a wonderful journey, still going. I started off with just audio podcasts because, first of all, I don't like the sound of my voice played back.
Right. I tell my
Of
wife
my
that all the time.
talking voice
Yeah.
played back. Like I was singing in front of thousands of people and have sang in front of thousands of people. But when it come down to my voice being played back, my talking voice, like I'm just now kind of like okay with it.
Right.
But it's not too many episodes that I'll just go back and listen to myself talking for a long period of time.
Right.
So starting a podcast and not wanting to be not wanting to talk like that, it was like kind of oxymoron.
Right.
But I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see if I can do this, and I'm gonna see if I like it. So we started off with the audio podcast, and that was in February of 2022. Then it was like, okay, well, let's do visual. Yeah. Uh, I was still like, but I don't like my voice. But by doing it visually, it gave me the opportunity to bring other people onto the show. And starting off, I kind of let them do majority of the talking.
Right.
So I still didn't have to do a whole lot of talking, so that's what made it good. But then as the time went by, then it was like, okay, I can get used to this, like I got more into it and you could see me talking more and
Right.
things like that. So, and it became a thing that I look forward to on Tuesdays whenever the season is, because I don't do it I don't do it all year round.
Uh huh.
So, but I would look forward to Tuesdays because it's like, okay, we got this guest on here, and I wonder what we're going to talk about, and I wonder where the conversation is going to go. So, as the journey is developing and things like that, I'm more comfortable when it comes to the visual part of the podcast, because audio, I can just do that. Nobody's looking at me.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
Nobody's looking at me. So but being able to, get past all those things, and people reaching out to me and letting me know, hey, keep going. What you're doing, it is really inspirational. And, just getting inspirational messages from other people that I am inspiring other people, it keeps me going with my podcast.
Right. All right. It's time for our hot seat round. I don't know if I mentioned that to you.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the hot seat round. The Epstein files. You've heard about this. They've lost the files, or they never had the files, or whatever. Do you think that they were lying to us then, or are they lying to us now?
I honestly don't know what you're talking about.
The Epstein files.
I don't know what you're
You
talking
don't
about.
know.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't keep up with things going on. Sometimes that can be bad, but I don't keep up with things going on.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
know.
Wait. To be honest, I was saying the same thing, but being on Facebook, you see it anyway. So I move on from there. Um, do you listen? Do you listen to rap? Maybe I should ask a question first. Do you listen to rap music?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
Like,
But
yes, I listen to rap, but I haven't really particularly been listening to rap music
you
here
haven't. Okay.
lately.
The Clipse just came out with a new album, so I'm guessing that you haven't heard that yet.
I
Um,
don't even know who that is.
you don't know who the Clipse are. Okay.
No, no.
On to the next one. Uh, AI. Do you think that AI will be good, or is it potentially something that would harm humanity?
I think it's good when used correctly, but I really feel like it is crippling. And I'm kind of scared of AI
Good, yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's
because,
kind of scary.
yeah, AI, the way, I mean, just like you said, scrolling through Facebook, it can make you look like you're doing things that you're not.
Yeah, yeah, they can create. That's what I was mentioning earlier. They can create an entire reality if they want
Right,
to. Yeah.
right.
Um, and let me see. Top three female vocalists all time.
Top three female vocalists of all
All
time:
time. Yeah.
Beyonce, Fantasia, Kiki White.
Kiki White. That's interesting. She does. My wife is in agreement somewhere in there with you. Beyonce,
Blow it out the
Fantasia,
water.
and Kiki White. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let me see. What else did I have for you? Well, I just had a few more questions before we go. I don't know. Did you want to say something before I ask these questions? Anything you
I
want
do
the
want to
viewers to know?
say, for anybody listening right now, I have been nominated for Podcast of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, and Musician of the Year for the Music Love Awards here in Arkansas. Voting is going on
Congratulations.
until, thank you. Voting is going on until July 31st. It's unlimited voting. And if you would like to go to everythingtiphani.com, you can find the voting link there. And literally, it says unlimited voting. So, just vote, 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 submit, scroll, do it again over and over. But I'm excited. The awards is going to be August 22nd and 23rd in
Uh,
Little Rock, Arkansas. So I'm excited about those nominations this year.
again, congratulations. I'm glad to hear
Thank
that.
you.
Um, so, and this, I guess that this will be my last question for you. What's next besides the winning this award here? What's next for you musically, spiritually, and creatively?
Musically, what's next for me is before the end of this year, I will be going back into the studio to record, and my goal is to do a full album. We'll see where that goes, but my goal is to do a full album. I have like probably like 30 to 40 songs that I could really literally go in and record. But we're pushing for an album. And you said musically, and what else?
Creatively and spiritually.
Creatively, I am working on, my goal is to at least by the end of the year to have me a manuscript ready for a book. I have like 4 books in the making at the moment. 2 for sure. 2 that are book concepts.
Okay.
Also, you said creatively.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, possibly doing a, well, not possibly. I just don't know when we're gonna actually start it. But me and my husband are going to be doing a podcast ourselves about relationships and things
Okay.
like that. So be on the lookout for that. I actually have some merch that will be coming out for Tips Tuesdays. Follow me on everythingtiffany.com. You'll be able to get the merch there once it's released. And it's so much I'm trying to do. There's so much I'm doing. But creatively, I think that's it. And then what was the other part?
Spiritually.
Spiritually. Okay, spiritually. I'm actually being ordained as a minister this year. So I will be preaching my first sermon here soon
I
in the
need an
next
applause button here.
month or 2.
Yeah. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. Amongst in school and actively pursuing for my master's in media design.
Oh, turn up. Media
So
design. What is that? What is that about?
it's graphic design.
Oh, graphic. Okay, media. Okay, I got. I got.
Yeah, I don't know why they put media design. It's graphic
Yeah, I'm like
design.
that's something
Well,
different.
I guess in a sense because it's not just one, it's not just like with computers, it's
Uh,
media, it's all media.
all media. Okay, I got you. I
Yeah.
got.
Yeah. I answered it once I said it out loud.
All right. Well, that was it. That was all I have for you. I do appreciate you. Thank you again. Remember to everything's Tiphani.com, Tiphani, right? Everything's
Yes.
Tiphani.com.
Everything.
Tips, Tips Tuesday.
Yes.
Remember that too. Go on there for inspiration from Tiphani. Again, thank you. This is Everything's Debatable. God loves you, and we do too. Again, Tiphani, thank you. You have a good night, okay?
All right, you too.
Thank you.